The time has come to make a video about some knives from RMJ Tactical. I decided to go with 4 of them because, well, I like variety. My previous experiences with RMJ Tactical is one product, the RMJ 3V Raven, the Syndicate exclusive Raven axe hatchet in CPM 3V. That one was really nice. It's definitely a tool that people ask me about when I bring it up in videos or in real life here as well. So it is a hatchet that I've been carrying with me a bit, but it's also one of the more expensive tools that I own. Then again, I mean, how often do you see a hatchet or an axe made in CPM 3V? Regardless, this video is not about axes or hatchets or anything that is not a knife. And as you can see, I decided to go with a semi-large box, a medium-sized box, and medium to small box, and a small box. So we do have some good variety going on here, or that is what I'm hoping for at least. We're gonna do a unboxing to begin with. Some people really appreciate a good unboxing. I don't care too much about it myself, but since I have the possibility to unbox a few knives here, and I don't think there are too many videos showing these sorts of unboxing for these specific knives, I thought we could as well do it. So let's start with the smallest ones and then work us up to the largest one. And the smallest in this batch, well, there are actually 2 that are about the same size, but this is the box we're gonna start with. And I mean, it's a box, pretty sturdy. The emblem of RMJ, and then we have some information here that says Sparrow, Nitro V, Tungsten Black. Now we know the contents. So let's open this box up now and see what we can reveal. We have some paperwork to begin with. Let's see. Congratulations on your purchase of a RMJ USA Tomahawk. No? Or knife? Yes. Caution, our products are sharp. See the detailed warning on the other side. Okay. Caution, our products are sharp. Care should be taken with our Tomahawks, especially with the beard, blah blah blah. So I mean, I kind of reckon these knives will be sharp. My RMG Raven was very sharp and still is. So let's put that little paper aside, and we have some more paperwork. Pull the dot, snap, instructions. Yeah, I can check that out later, not too important or interesting. We have a sticker, an RMJ sticker here. I wonder if I got one of these with my 3V Raven. I'm actually not sure. I did get some other stuff with it that was really nice, so probably shouldn't complain. But this is the sticker you get with perhaps every knife. I mean, we will soon find out. Yeah. And then we have some type of certificate of authenticity, or no, they call it a certificate of authorship. Model Sparrow, Steel Nitro V, handle G10, date 2021. This blade was handcrafted in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So not really a certificate of authenticity, no serial numbers or anything. I mean, this is sort of a production model, but still nice to have, I guess. So now we know the paperwork that we have in the box. We can put that aside, and then we move on to this. And here we have some thick inlay and some material to protect the knife, and then we have the knife itself, and then we have some more protective inlay, and that is it. So let's put this down here, put the paperwork in, put this one here, and then we can focus on the actual knife itself for a second. So here we have it in its Kydex sheath with some leather straps here on it. Retention seems to be fairly good. There is a bit of rattling actually, but the actual retention seems fine. Yeah, there's actually some noises perhaps also coming from the snaps, but overall fairly secure. That's a good thing. I mean, it looks like a useful design. Yeah. Here we have the knife itself. It is actually a little bit smaller than what I expected it to be. And is that a bad thing? No, that is actually a good thing in my opinion. And I particularly like the thickness here of the spine. This is actually, you know, most knives that I tend to get in all sizes pretty much, but even, you know, small size like these usually come with a really thick blade spine. So that is nice to see something different. In terms of size, well, I have fairly large hands, size 10 in gloves, so let's place it here in my hand with a finger groove here that actually works for my finger, which is a nice touch. We can see that this is a full 4-finger grip. Placing the thumb here on the spine, this feels good. There is some jimping going on here, not overly aggressive at all. It's actually quite, I won't say smooth, but it's definitely not aggressive. But you do get some friction here, a bit of friction at least. The back part here, I mean, for my hand, is not too bad. It is, I mean, it's a rounded back part. So there are no sharp edges or anything, which is very nice because that could have been an issue, definitely. So in my hand, this one feels quite nice. You do have a bit of a guard here as well, which is also nicely rounded. Could perhaps have been slightly longer, but doesn't really, it doesn't really matter that much to me. So in terms of ergos, well, this is better than what I was thinking. That's a good thing. Let's take a look at the specs here for this one. So as I mentioned, the steel here is Nitro V. I have no experience with that steel, so it'll be interesting to see how well it holds up. And there's also a Cerakote finish on the blade, which just makes it slightly more corrosion resistant. Oh, and before we go into that, I'm going to mention that my finger, yes, I have a blister here on my finger, which looks kind of strange. I've been playing around with one of my flippers too much, and this is what can happen. So that is why I'm making a fixed blade video, right? Anyway, let's talk the specs here now. So the Sparrow here, we have an overall length, yes, of 7 inches. We have a blade length of 3.1 inches and a blade thickness of 0.125, so 0.125 inches. And I like that fact, you know, it's kind of refreshing with something slightly thinner than what I usually see on many of the knives that I own. Handle material is G10 with some pattern going on here for extra grip. And then we have the nicely rounded edges, or well, they're on the real edges. Quite nice. Weight of the knife is 2.2 ounces. So it's fairly light, and that is of course due to the slightly thinner blade stock, blade spine. Overall, a really nice knife, without having put it to any real use whatsoever. But my initial impressions is actually better than what I expected. It would be interesting to carry this for a while and put it to some good use. RMG Tactical Raven. No. Sparrow. Well, it's still a bird, but I mean, it's a bit of a difference between a raven and a sparrow, right? So yeah, that's it for this one. Let's go ahead with the next one. Next up, we have a slightly larger box. I think we're gonna do the unboxing a bit faster because I suspect that the paperwork and everything like that is gonna be pretty much the same. Yeah, pretty much exactly identical contents once again here, with a bit of a different certificate of authorship here. Says model Jackdaw, steel Nitro V, handle G10, date 2021. So this is obviously a Jackdaw we are taking a look at now. And there it is. So let's put this stuff away for now or forever perhaps. So here we have it. You can tell right away that this is going to be a bit of an interesting blade shape, right? Same type of Kydex sheath. No rattling on this one at all, no rattling at all. I can hear from these some noise, but that is to be expected, fully expected. So super nice. And the retention seems to be pretty good. So let's get it out. Let's try to get it in again as well. So I can tell right away that this blade, not the blade itself, but the design of the handle shares a few similarities with the handle of the Sparrow, right? Yeah, pretty much the same type of handle design. Well, that should be a good thing, right? Because the Sparrow works well with my hand, so that is good. So the Jackdaw, well, this is a bit, different, right? I don't think I've seen any knife quite like this one, or I mean, especially not in this smaller size. I will say that I think that this blade looks cool as hell. But coolness is, just one factor, since I actually want to put my knives to use. So, I mean, a blade can look really cool and stylish, but be, well, pretty much worthless at the same time. And that's a problem. But that is not a problem we're gonna have with this knife, that I am fairly sure of. So, once again, fits nice in my hand. We got the same type of jimping going on here, which works well. As it just feels. This feels really solid in this grip, that I've got to say. I do get a bit interested in the balance point on these two. We never checked the balance point, right, on the Sparrow. Let's do that. So the balance point of this one is right here on the finger groove, right? Let's check the balance point on the Jackdaw here, because it feels, yeah, balance point is actually at the same place. Well, that's good. So let's take some nice close-ups here. Yeah, it looks really nice. Let's go over the specs for this one, shall we? So we have an overall length of 6.625 inches. So the overall length is actually slightly shorter than the Sparrow. We have a blade length of 3.25 inches, which is actually a bit longer than the Sparrow. The blade thickness is 0.130. It's specified at DLT where I got it, but I would suspect that, you know, the blade thickness is pretty much identical to the Sparrow. So it's probably around 0.125 to 0.130 inches, and the same goes for the Sparrow. I think that's pretty safe to say. The weight of this one, the blade steel is of course Nitro V as well, with a Cerakote finish. G10 material for handle as well, and a weight of 2.9 ounces. So this one is of course a bit heavier than the Sparrow, and that is of course to be expected given, you know, the shape of the blade. So a small little, you know, cleaver styled EDC. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I like this one a lot. I think it looks really nice, and I look forward to see how well it works as a, you know, an EDC of sorts. Will definitely be interesting to carry this one. But let's go on with the next one. Or should we take just one quick size comparison again here with the Sparrow for those interested in that? Very different knives. Both of them really nice, in my opinion. Let's move on, shall we, to something a bit bigger. We're really, you know, upping the size now. There we go. Here we have a box again, and this one reads Ucap Nitro V Black Textured Black. Well, this blade is probably gonna be black. Both blade and handle and everything pretty much. Same type of paperwork. Once again, I'm not even gonna go over it this time. We're just gonna put it aside here, and this exact same type of padding and, you know, stuff like that. And here we have the knife itself. No rattling. It's a good thing. Yeah, it looks nice. I kind of like these designs here for the Kydex sheath, and I do like the retention. I do like, you know, how they are fitted, even though there was some slight rattling with the Sparrow. Let's see how the retention is here. So the retention seems to be fairly secure. Yeah, that's good. Let's unsheath this little beast. So here we have the Ucap with some, we can see that, you know, the blade looks a bit different, right? I mean, the other blades were like stonewash or with some Cerakote finish. This one has some textures going on. Definitely not something that I've seen on any other knife before. It looks kind of, you know, it looks kind of interesting, kind of neat, kind of stylish. From a practical standpoint, well, I'm not sure if it will, you know, have any real effect in use. And when I say, you know, an effect, I'm talking about, you know, well, negative or downsides to it. You know, it is stylish, no doubt, and hopefully there is no, you know, no issues with it. It looks very different. I've never seen anything like this before. I like it. I can say that much. Interesting texture, yeah. I know this blade was also made in CPM 3V, but I think that was like a limited syndicate 3V version of sorts. But this one is in Nitro V. So let's talk about ergos to begin with. Once again, yeah, I still have size 10 gloves, still have fairly large hands. Let's place it here and see. Fills my hand quite nicely. Do have some of the butt part here coming out. Yeah, feels good in my hand. No, there's no. I was kind of, you know, semi-expecting some jimping here when I placed my thumb, but there is no jimping here. But you can feel a bit of texture though, from, you know, the actual how they made the blade. You can perhaps see some of the, you know, you can feel there is some ripples going on here, but there is no jimping, no actual jimping. And I'm also surprised. I probably didn't look too close at the specs when I put this in the basket or in the cart and order it, because I was expecting the blade thickness to be, well, thicker. This feels kind of, you know, thin in a sense. I'm actually not sure about the blade thickness, but could it really be? Give me a second here. I'm gonna go with let's take the Sparrow. So it is probably slightly thicker than the Sparrow, but definitely not by much. I'm gonna have to look up the thickness of this one, but I would probably say around 0.140 or something like that. Well, it's refreshing in a sense. I was just surprised. It's not uncomfortable in any way. You know, it's not like there is a non-sharpened swedge or anything going on here. Then it would have been uncomfortable. But I was surprised, you know, when I placed my thumb that, wow, this blade is not super thick. Once again, not an issue at all. Quite refreshing even, to be honest. Rounded edges or sides. We do have some, let's see. You can see here on the lower part, there is some sort of, well, what are we gonna call this? Mega jimping, but, you know, nicely rounded. Obviously for better, you know, grip of sorts, so the knife doesn't, you know, go out of your hand. Yeah, I mean, this feels comfortable. You have this small guard here, which I feel could have perhaps been a tiny bit longer, so my finger don't accidentally, you know, probably not a real issue in practical use, but it's just, you know, this is just an initial impression unboxing, and I'm just speaking my mind, sort of. But comfortable blade. Like a small, like a mini, not a mini, but a smaller, you know, Bowie type knife. Definitely. And with a nice little fuller here going on both sides. I'm not sure if it's actually made to lighten the blade or to stiffen it a bit here, making it, you know, stronger. But it's a nice touch nonetheless. So maybe we should take a look at the specs here on this one as well, since, well, we've gone over the specs on all other knives, so it would be kind of strange not to do it for this one. We have a overall length of 8.25 inches. We have a blade length of 3.9 inches. Like I said, the blade steel is Nitro V. The handle is G10. The blade thickness, I don't have any specifications on that, but I'm saying, you know, it's a fairly thin blade, probably around 0.140, something like that. I think. I could probably be wrong, but I mean, I don't have the full specs here. Well, I guess that's it for this one. A really special texture there on the, you know, the black texturing on the blade. I've seen the same texture on photos on some Ravens and some other, probably the Snuggles and something like that, but I don't know if they are all exclusive to the Syndicate 3V or to specific dealers. I'm getting my RMJ knives from DLT Trading, so this is what what is available right now. Let's put this one back in the sheath, or should we do a size comparison once again? Yeah, let's put this one here, and we can take the perhaps go with the Jackdaw on the top here, and then we can take the Raven next. And there you have the lineup this far, or thus far. So let's put these away for now. And then focus on our next and final fourth knife. So this is a slightly larger box. Actually, we might have to zoom up because it doesn't really fit. Give me a second here. There we have it in all its glory. So let's take a look here at what it says. So it says Choppa 80 CRV2 graphite black. So now we have a new steel. Now we're leaving Nitro V. I guess this is perhaps a slightly tougher steel. So let's see what we have. Yeah, we have the exact same kind of paperwork. Almost. No sticker. So we didn't have the exact same paperwork. There was no sticker here. And here is the attachments to the Kydex sheath. So let's put these things aside. Then we can open up the box to reveal its contents. That is a interesting looking Kydex sheath. Well, you should not judge a book by its covers, right? Let's put these stuff here, like that. This box I might actually open later on because I feel I need the attachments for the Kydex sheath. So here we have the Choppa. Did it say black there on the box? I guess I ordered this one with a black blade. A little bit of rattling, but the retention seems pretty solid. So let's it's not going nowhere unless I want it to. So here we have easily the largest knife of the bunch, the Choppa. And I am a little bit allergic to that name because I think it sounds actually kind of silly. Just my 2 cents. But the knife itself is not very silly or stupid. That I can say for sure. So once again, let's start with the Argos. This feels kind of good. Yeah, we know by now. What size do I have? Yeah, I have size 10 in gloves, fairly large hand. So let's place this one here. We have a finger groove, a bit on the larger side here if you compare it to the finger groove on the Sparrow and the Jackdaw. And then we have a handle that looks like this. Here we have, I could have used, you know, if I wanted an extra finger, I could have fitted that. So if you have 6 fingers on your hand, or I mean with the choil you can even have 7 fingers, why not? So overall, you know, it feels good in my hand. I'm not really partial to finger grooves on choppers or chopping knives, but I mean this does become useful when doing, you know, slightly finer tasks and especially choils. if you have seen some of my other videos, you probably know by now that I actually like choils on knives. I have no issues with them as long as they are, you know, large enough to actually be used as a fingered choil. Otherwise, I think it is a waste of space, of edge. But in this case, you know, putting your finger like this, your thumb here and your two fingers here, this does make, you know, for nice fine work, should you want to do that. But from a chopper perspective, then you could probably have gone, you know, full length with the edge, and perhaps skip the finger groove here. But I feel like, you know, with this one, they probably want you to be able to do as much as possible. They want to make as versatile tool as possible. And then this, you know, choking up like this, sure provides you a finer, better grip for finer tasks and finer work. No doubt about it. I'm a little surprised now that I see that there is a part here from the finger choil where it's not sharpened. Maybe for people with really thick fingers, so that they won't, you know, accidentally cut themselves on the edge should they use the finger choil. For me, that is of course not an issue. But once again, these are just my, you know, first initial impressions and thoughts while unboxing. But I will say that the knife feels, you know, it feels good in my hand. Actually, I could probably see myself, you know, skipping sometimes the finger choil here and going for a back grip like this, putting all four fingers here to get some extra, you know, leverage or momentum if I need to. But I'm not going to say too much. I mean, I haven't put this one to use yet, and I do look forward to do that. And once again, there is no, much like the Ucap, there is no jimping going on here. Not an issue whatsoever. And I also feel like the blade stock here is, I mean, it's interesting that they went with a thinner blade, with a blade spine here, or spine thickness. I think this one is, I wonder, you know what, I'm gonna say that yeah, is it the same size on all the knives, the spine thickness, perhaps? That would mean they are all around 125 to 130. This one definitely feels, I'm gonna say that the spine thickness on this one is probably around 0.130 inches, which is interesting since most choppers we see these days, unless we're talking machetes. But speaking of, you know, chopping knives, they are usually at least like 0.200 or 0.250 inches, or even more sometimes. So this is definitely, this is, you know, by far the thinnest chopping knife that I currently own. And that makes me very, you know, excited to actually go out and do some work with it. I mean, as long as the steel is tough enough. And I do think that 80 CRV2 is a tough steel. So I think this, you know, it's not gonna break. I can tell you that much. And it will be an interesting experience doing some chopping with a knife with this, in this size, with this thickness. Definitely gonna be interesting. Maybe we should talk a bit about the specs here. So we have an overall length here of 12 inches. With a blade length of 7.35, no wait, I'm gonna say 7.4 inches in blade length. The blade thickness, we have talked about that already, but probably around 0.125 or 0.130, somewhere in that vicinity, I would say. We have a Cerakote finish here, black Cerakote finish. The handle material, as with all the knives that I have gotten at least, are in G10. Black G10. There is, I will say that right away, there is a wide variety of colors to the handles, and there are also some different Cerakote finishes as well, I believe. The weight of this one is 10.5 ounces, so it's not, you know, super heavy. And that is of course explained by the thickness of the spine. The balance point, well, this one is obviously a bit of a forward heavy blade, so you have the balance point here right on the fingered choil. Not bad at all. I mean, you do want it to be slightly forward heavy when we are talking about choppers. So the Choppa, this is a different beast. Definitely an interesting knife. I will say that my initial impressions are on the positive side. I'm super curious about, you know, putting these ones to work. And yeah, depending on performance, this could be really interesting. Oh, I probably should mention here that there are there's a bit of milling of sorts here in the blade. I mean, you've probably already seen it. I'm not quite sure as to why this was done. It can also be seen, of course, here on the spine. See that? If it is for, you know, making the blade more stylish looking, or making the blade tougher, making the blade lighter, or a combination of some of those. Yeah, the Choppa. Let's put them all here on the table now, I guess. My little RMJ armada of sorts. I kind of like those black blades. Now I kind of wish I had them on all of the knives here. So here we have them. I find this to be a very interesting lineup. I'm really curious about their respective performances. I like overall the ergos. I think they're all good looking knives, and I am quite excited to put them to work. That much I can say. They all feel solid in terms of, you know, fit and finish, and in terms of you know, ergos. I think they are kind of spot on, especially on the fit and finish. Yeah, we did have some minor rattling on the Sparrow, and a bit of rattling on the Choppa, but that is not a big deal to me, as long as the actual retention of the kydex sheath are what I want them to be, and they definitely are in this case. So that's it for the unboxing, for the specs and overview and all that. Now it's time to have some actual fun with the blades. There was one thing that I wanted to show before we really end this first you know, overview section of the video, and that is in terms of grips. We never talked about reverse grips, and I rarely, you know, hold my knives in a reverse grip, because that is not really something that is necessary, or you know, it's just something that I never do. It's more of a offensive grip, so to say, and not something that is used by most ordinary people. But since these are knives that are, you know, made from a, you know, tactical aspect, and also used by men and women in the army, in the military, I think we can take a look at, you know, the reverse grip. So let's first off, let's exclude the Choppa here. Using this one in a reverse grip, well, I mean, yeah, maybe someone can actually do it in some way. It's just strange, okay? This is just strange, but I mean, yeah, perhaps. If I had to use this one in a reverse grip, I would go with using the choil here, actually. in some sense, but that feels the most comfortable. But you know, it mostly just feels really strange and off, and well, I don't know why anyone would ever want to use this one in a reverse grip, really. But yeah, that's about that knife. So now we have some other knives here that could be interesting taking a look at from a reverse grip, starting with the Ucap here. And like I said here, let's see, we do have some ripples, or you know, some I'm not sure what we're gonna call it, some sort of jimping here on the back end, you know, and that, you know, it works, you know, in this grip, but putting it like this, you get some little bit of friction over there. I'm gonna take away these knives so they don't take the focus here. So this is the reverse grip here, okay? Rounded here. Easy to place your thumb. So to me, this is a grip that feels, you know, comfortable. But, you know, I'm not really ever going to use a knife like this unless I get in a fight with a, well, I usually, you know, carry my knives in the woods. So that's if I get in a fight with a, I don't know, a badger or deer, wolf, fox. No, seriously. But if you want to use this in a reverse grip, it does feel, you know, it does feel pretty good in hand. Feels very secure. I can say that at least. You know, very secure grip. This knife ain't going anywhere when you lock it up here with a little finger against the guard, full forefinger, and then you place a thumb, and then you have a really, really strong, solid grip here. So yeah, it feels very secure, that I've got to say. Next up, we can take a look at the Jackdaw here. And you know, the Jackdaw and the Sparrow, they share pretty much the same handle, so they're going to be quite equal in terms of comfort and grip. So let's take a look here again. Thumb, full forefinger against this finger groove part here. Locks up pretty good, I'd say. Not, you know, not as comfortable, I mean, it's still kind of comfortable, but I can feel that it's probably not as, you know, secure in a sense that Ucap is. But still, if you want to have this one in a reverse grip and stab something with it, then you can, I mean, yeah, you can do that. Absolutely. I'm not sure how well the design lends to it. The design being the, you know, the blade design, of course. Let's go with the Sparrow. This is a bit more stabby than the Jackdaw. Obviously, I mean, the design kind of lends itself to being stabby. But in terms of actual handle, you know, ergos in a reverse grip, it's pretty much the same as the Jackdaw. I mean, it is pretty secure. I mean, the knife ain't going anywhere. But I do prefer a slightly larger handle, like the Ucap, if I were to, you know, place a knife in a reverse grip and with the intention of using it somehow. But that is not something you will ever see me do. Especially not in a video or anything, because that's just, well, it's not really something I expect to happen anytime soon, so to say. So all the knives can be used in reverse grips. This one, well, it's kind of strange. This one feels the absolute best in a reverse grip. Feels the most secure in my hand, locks up really well. These two smaller ones, yeah, I mean, you can have them in a reverse grip. They are pretty, pretty secure. But using the Jackdaw in a reverse grip, it's a bit strange as well. But Sparrow and Ucap, maybe that is the two knives you should check out of these four if you intend to use the knives in a reverse grip for whatever purpose. Now I think we can conclude the actual overview and move on to some sharpness tests and some other field tests, etc. Before we head out to start doing the field tests, I want to make sure that the factory edges are up to the task, that they are indeed sharp. When we opened all the different boxes here, everyone came with a note that said that we should be cautious about the sharpness of these tools, be it axes or knives. So I have some high expectations that they are actually quite sharp from the factory. We're gonna find that out by slicing some different types of paper. We have some regular, regular printing paper, nothing special about it really. And we also have some magazine paper that we're gonna test out as well. And we're gonna start small with the Sparrow, then jump over to the Jackdaw, then the Ucap, and then we're gonna finish it all off with the Choppa. So let's head to work, shall we? Starting with Sparrow. And with the regular printing paper here. So let's see if we can get through it. Whatever. So, I mean, obviously it will cut the printing paper and it will cut it, quite nice. Smooth, do you call this edges? Whatever, smooth cuts at least. We did get one hiccup here, I'm not sure why, maybe I got, stuck here in the small choil area perhaps, that's the reason, I'm not quite sure. But other than that, I mean, it did slice the printing paper fairly well. So yeah, it's sharp enough to slice printing paper, and that is actually a surprisingly good test, I'd say. So let's remove all this, and then we can go with magazine paper next. I kind of want to say that it slices both the printing paper and the magazine paper fairly well, or with ease. Yeah, that is the printing, the magazine paper. The Sparrow, the first one, it does pass the sharpness test. They weren't lying when they said it was sharp, because it is definitely sharp enough for my specific needs. So let's remove all this, and then we should go with the interesting Jackdaw next. Definitely one of my cooler small knives. So Jackdaw it is. Once again, we start with the printing paper here. This one is obviously very sharp. It is actually a bit sharper than the Sparrow. I'm not saying the Sparrow wasn't sharp. I mean, the Sparrow is, and I said it, definitely sharp enough for my needs, for most people's needs. But this Jackdaw is, well, it's just sharper. Then again, if I put the Sparrow on my strop for perhaps I don't know, a few minutes, it will probably be just as sharp as this one. Yeah, so that's the printing paper. This one definitely passes the test, no doubt. It's a sharp blade. Definitely a sharp blade. Then we have the magazine paper. Let's go with this. I mean, as you can probably tell, it is a very sharp knife. And it feels good when they put something on a box like, these knives are sharp, etc. Then I like it when they actually live up to that statement. Otherwise it can get kind of awkward when someone claims a knife is sharp, especially when I get to try it out. And I say it's super sharp, be careful, be cautious, etc. And then I find it to be more or less dull. That is just awkward. But in this case, when RMJ states it is sharp, then I guess you better believe it. Then we have the Ucap next. And some printing paper, if I can get hands on it. There we go. That's very smooth. Well, you can probably tell already, it is, yeah, you guessed it, it is sharp. Slice the paper up real nice. I like that texturing on this blade, man. We're gonna take a better look at that once we're outside. Setting here is not the best, but this definitely passes the printing paper sharpness test. And now we're gonna try the magazine paper, of course, next, which is gonna be a breeze for this knife, I can already say that, but nonetheless, I mean, we are gonna do it regardless. Let's take an extra page here. Yeah, so it does slice the magazine paper fairly nice as well. I was curious about, you know, the texturing of the blade here, if it would have any, you know, like any slicing effect on it. But like you see, that does not seem to be the case. At least not in terms of magazine paper slicing, nor printing paper slicing. So Ucap textured version passes the slicing test and is now ready for field action. And then we have to clean away all of this. Let's see. And then last but not least, we have the Choppa. This would be interesting. It feels kind of sharp, so let's see. Yeah, you can probably tell already that this one is also quite sharp as well. So that makes me happy that all four knives are actually sharp enough to do write a warning note inside the box. I think this is actually quite a nice factory sharpness for all of the knives. A lot of people don't know what a sharp knife really is. So if they do buy one of these, then at least they will be hopefully a bit careful when they start messing around with it. So this printing paper has now turned into a confetti mix of sorts. Yeah, definitely a knife that will cut printing paper. No doubt about that. And we already know that it's gonna slice the magazine paper quite easily. But as always, we are gonna go ahead and try it out. So let's see. trying to get all parts of the edge here to cut, to see that, or to show that it is sharpened equally well, which it is, even though I might not be super good at actually showing that, but it is in fact the case. Maybe to do more like this to get the complete edge cutting. Yeah, we have shredded the magazine paper here as well. So this one does of course pass the sharpness test. All 4 knives are really sharp. I do think that the Sparrow was probably the least sharp of the 4, but it was still quite sharp. The other 3 were exceptionally sharp. But like I said, if I put the Sparrow on my strop for a few seconds, or, well, maybe not seconds, but a minute or 2, I can probably get it to be just as sharp as the other 3. But all of them pass my sharpness tests, and that should say something. So let's clean this mess up, and then we pack our bags and get ready to head outside to put the knives to some more, you know, real practical use other than just cutting different kinds of paper. Yeah. So by now we know that these knives, they all slice paper, the 2 types of paper we have tried, really well. So now I thought we could try slicing some, or not slicing, shaving some leg hair. I think I have some leg hair left from all my sharpness tests, maybe even some arm hair, well, not a lot, but we're gonna go with leg hair then. So we're gonna once again start with the Sparrow and then work our way up to the Choppa. So let's put these knives aside, and then it's time to get my legs on the camera here. It's gonna be nice. So I'm not sure how well things can be seen, but maybe zoom in a bit. Well, there is some hair going on here, a bit at least, so, but it's also very light. Yeah, let's try to do this. Yeah, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it slices the hair right off the leg. It's, you know, hair popping sharp it is, no doubt. That is sharp. Very smooth. My wife is gonna love this. So let's go with the Jackdaw next. See how that one holds up. See if we can go somewhere here, perhaps. Yeah. Same here. Hair popping sharp. This is some serious sharpness, actually. Really sharp knives. Then we go Ucap next. Do we have any hair left? I have to turn my legs like this a bit. Yeah, let's go here. Maybe try to be in the camera too. Yeah, it's just popping off. Super sharp edges. And now we go with that Choppa here. This could be a good time to use the choiler for the, you know, the finer work, right? Yeah, just, you know, The hairs are pretty much flying off. These knives are really sharp. I am impressed. Really sharp knives. Oh man. So, all in all, let's keep some hair on here, really nice. Some hair on here. So yeah, if you want to shave your legs with your RMJ knives, when you're out in the field and you have no razor or anything with you, then you can of course, pick up your Choppa and start shaving those legs or any other parts of your body that you wanna, yeah. Let's just end this segment right here, right now. These knives are shaving sharp, hair popping sharp even. You don't have to, you don't have to press hard or anything. It's just, let them glide over and the hairs will just pop off. That is how sharp these knives are. Next up, we're gonna do some paracord cutting or slicing. We have a multicolored, kind of small, or not small, but thin paracord here. Not the thinnest, but like, 3 millimeters or something like that. Then we have some thicker types over here. I'm not sure how thick these all are, but they are definitely on the thicker side. So let's start with the Sparrow and then, try the different knives, try some different combinations, etc. So but we're gonna try with smaller knives first, the Sparrow and the Jackdaw, and we're gonna start with the thinner styled paracord here. So here we have the Sparrow. So let's just, see if we can cut this to begin with, right? Well, it wasn't, much of a challenge. So to make it a bit more challenging, or maybe we should do like a controlled run with the Jackdaw as well, right? Yeah, super easy. Since it's so easy, we're gonna make it slightly more challenging for them. How about this? 1, 2, 3 folds, which means 6 cords to cut through. This could pose for a bit more of a challenge, right? So let's go Sparrow here. So this is 6 strings. Well, that's pretty good. Didn't require that much of an effort. Let's do the very same test here with the Jackdaw as well next here. So just need to unravel these a bit. So 1, 2, 3 and a knot. So right here we have once again 3 folded, which means 6 strings in total, and then we switch to the Jackdaw, and then we just have a go here, shall we? Did we get them all? Yeah, we got them all. Once again, didn't really require that much of an effort. So, cutting paracord, yeah, that seems to be no issue. Let's go with this thick green cord as well. I want to save some for the other knives, and I mean, let's fold this one like perhaps 4 times. No, I mean 2 times, and then we get 4 strings because I want to save some for the other knife. So here we have the thicker paracord. We go with the Sparrow first. See? Yeah. Super easy. Didn't require much of an effort. 1, 2. So we're going 4 here again, but this time we're going with the Jackdaw instead. Well, yeah, really, doesn't require much of an effort at all. See, let's go with this. This is a lot thicker. See that? Let's go. See, let's go perhaps 1. Let's go like this, 4. This is a lot thicker. You can see the comparison here in size. So going with these 4 could be interesting. Let's start with the Jackdaw again. No, with the Sparrow. It's hard keeping all of this in. So let's try this. So I actually slid a little, but it's not, really doesn't require much of an effort. Let's unravel this as well, so we can try the Jackdaw next. So 1. Like this again, so it's 4 of them, right? Then we place the Jackdaw here. Yeah, so we got all of them here. Very good. So I think that concludes the paracord testing of these 2. If you want to cut some paracord, these will do the job just fine. Just fine. So next up, let's go with the Ucap then. I can start with this slightly thinner paracord here, where you can do well, maybe this is a bit extreme. Let's go with them slightly longer. Yeah, like this. Yeah, this is perhaps a little bit extreme. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4 folds, which equals to 8 cords here to cut through. Is that a good start for the Ucap? Yeah, I'm not sure. We're gonna go with that regardless. So, Ucap, first try, 8 paracords here. So. I did a pretty good job, right? Totally effortless. Let's go with this thicker green paracord here. So we're folding it 3 times, which makes for 6. 6 cords to cut through. And not a whole lot of space for me to hold that. Let's see. Yeah, let's give this a go, shall we? Yeah. Totally effortless once again. And this is the thicker paracord. I think that concludes the testing of the Ucap as a paracord cutter. It will definitely cut the paracord effortless. Once again, last but not least, we have the Choppa. And we no longer have any thin paracord left. We only have this super thick red paracord here. And we also have this thick gold paracord. But since this is a you know, thick boy, or not really thick, you know, it's got the same blade spine thickness as the others, and it's actually, as we all know by now, it's actually quite a thin blade. But it's a big blade. But let's prepare this one. Let's make it challenging from the get-go. Let's go with everything. So how many folds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that is maybe a bit extreme, perhaps. Yeah, so this is 12 chords that it has to go through. So, you know what? Let's just see how many we can cut through here. I know this is a little bit extreme perhaps, or excessive, but I mean, yeah. It's hard getting them to, you know, stay. We have them all. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, they're not all totally tightened here, but 12 strings here now. So let's have a go. Yeah, we actually got them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24. So 12 strings, 24 pieces now since we cut them in half, but it was 12 strings from the get-go. Effortless. Good job, Choppa. Good job. Last we have this super thick paracord. Feels more like a rope. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. So 10 of these. This is pretty excessive. Yeah, but yeah, let's do this. Just gonna have to, you know, yeah. So 10 of these. This is this absolute thickest one. So let's try this. Come on, they're not all. Yeah. We got them all. That is pretty extreme. Holy shit. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a paracord slicer or cutter, you can't go wrong with any of these knives, but some of them are a bit easier to carry than others. But should you want to slice paracord using the Choppa, well, be my guest, you know, it's gonna do the job, no doubt. No doubt at all. So overall, all of these knives, the Choppa, the Ucap, the Jackdaw, and the Sparrow will slice paracord quite well. What we're gonna do now, or next, is that we're gonna do some slicing of fruits and vegetables. Usually I have a ton of different fruits and vegetables, but this time around we're gonna go with the two that I find to be most of a challenge, and that is tomatoes and oranges. Usually when I do my cutting tests, I've had like well, grapes, zucchini, aubergine, I've had cucumber, I've had a lot of different stuff here. I've sliced up bananas, I've had apples, I've had lots of different fruits, but the two that usually pose the most challenge is actually the tomatoes and the oranges, due to the the skin and the texture and everything. So I thought that for this video we will go only with the two toughest ones to cut, and we're gonna use all the knives shown previously in this video. And I know that these knives are not necessarily designed to excel at cutting or slice fruits and I mean like tomatoes and oranges, but I consider this to be part of a sharpness test, so that is why we're gonna do it. I mean, some of these are usually used for like more tactical or military purposes, but this time around we will go with more EDC friendly tasks, and I consider this to be like something that people can actually use the knives for, should they want to. And we already know that the knives are really sharp. We did slice some paper and stuff with it, so this should be I think this should be sort of a walk in the park, but in the name of science we will still do it. I decided to adjust the camera a bit to give us a better overview of the slicing action. I think this is better, but yeah, probably not that much of a difference. So I think we're gonna start by cutting up the tomatoes, and we're gonna go with we're gonna use all the blades, but we can once again start from small to large, perhaps putting the Sparrow to the test first here. So we're gonna grab one of these tomatoes. Probably try to grab a smaller one, because now we are kinda limited to the actual blade length here. Looking in the camera now, maybe we should actually zoom in a little bit. Yeah, this is a lot better in terms of zoom, I think. So let's get going, shall we? Maybe even do like that, so it's fully centered. So like I said, we are a bit limited to blade length here, but as we can see, this one should work fairly okay. Same goes with the Jackdaw here. And I'm gonna go for full round slices to begin with. So as you can see, there is no, I could perhaps go for a bit thicker. I'm not making the finest pieces here, but in terms of actual, cutting, it is of course cutting through quite nicely. I mean, yeah, not the thinnest pieces, but in terms of actual cutting, we are getting through the skin and peel and everything without any major concerns. Let's do some other cuts here as well. This one cuts really nice. Look, there we had a bit of a minor struggle almost. But still making fairly quick work. But there was this one part where I felt that small skin resistance that I felt with some other knives. Now now it's all. Yeah, this is not supposed to be beautiful in any way. It's not about doing something nice looking. It's all about the slicing capabilities. And as you can see, this one will slice the tomato. Did a fairly good job here. But we did meet some small resistance on 1 or 2 pieces. Not quite sure why we did, but you know, the knife is sharp, undoubtedly. So that was the one tomato and the Sparrow. So I'm gonna clean this up and then we can go with the next blade. Next up we have the Jackdaw and a new tomato here. I'm gonna do pretty much the same thing once again here. So let's see how this one handles the tomato. I mean, the cutting is going pretty good. You do feel slightly limited to the, I mean, with the blade length, but that, I mean, that is just the way it is, right? Nice smooth cuts. Very watery tomato, extremely. That's good. It just makes it more challenging of sorts. You know, it's not that easy to pull together, but it slices it fairly well here, or I mean really well, I'd say. So slicing that up was a piece of cake. I can probably, let's see if we can do like this. Put it here, so this tomato tower, yeah. Piece of cake. Yeah, this knife is sharp. So yeah, it's a nice one, very sharp as well. So let me just once more clean this up, and I will get back with the Ucap next. Time has come to put a textured, really nice looking blade here to some tomato slicing tests. So let's see. You know, having this extra blade length makes, you know, a world of difference. So much more comfortable and easy to slice the tomato up here like this, for example. And then we're gonna do the same test we did with the others. Nicely sliced. The only problem here is, you know, keeping the whole, or the half of the tomato stable when cutting. So in terms of, you know, actual cutting here, as you can see, we made quick work. Pretty easy. I can take this one as well and slice this into some smaller pieces as well. Yeah, it is just gliding away here, but you know, sliced it all up easily. So yeah. Next up, the Choppa. That's going to be an interesting one to try. But as well, we know it is sharp, so... But let me just clean this up here and we will get going with the big boy. Last but not least, the Choppa. You know, this one was probably not, you know, intended as a tomato slicer, but yeah, that is what we're gonna do. I mean, I am, you know, tempted to just whack at it, but no, this is a slicing test, and here we could actually use the finer grip here with the choil and the finger groove. So let's get going here, shall we? Yeah, so this feels almost like a kitchen knife. No, not really, but having that extra blade length, you know, I'm not complaining. Not one bit. Slice that one up pretty nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slices from that. Let's put it here. And then we do as we did with all the others as well. Yeah, so this one probably actually feels the best to work with doing these sorts of, you know, tasks. I've got to say that. And this tomato is falling. Come on. It's, you know, it is the way it is. But yeah, slicing this one up, no issues whatsoever. And then we can go with this one and do that, you know, some cross cuts and stuff here. So let's see, like that. Stupid tomato is, it's not so easy when it's so slippery. Still intended to cut these in pieces, so yeah. That was the Choppa going on a tomato massacre. Easily the nicest one to do these sorts of tasks with. I will say that, you know, the larger the knife, when you do have the same blade thickness, then it's just nice to work with a large knife, of course. So let's clean up this mess, and then we can try the orange challenge as well. Next up, we're going oranges. I don't have a ton of oranges, so I'm gonna probably use this one for both the Sparrow and the Jackdaw, and then do the same with the Ucap and the Choppa with another orange. And here we see that, you know, cutting this one, yeah, you know, we are running out of, you know, blade length. But let's, yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Can we even get through with this blade length? Not really. Let's see. Let's try the Jackdaw here and see if we can get some extra. It's gonna be hard as well. So the Jackdaw can go from the other side here, perhaps. I mean, it's nothing wrong with the actual, you know, cutting performance, but we are running out of blade length to do this in a, you know, comfortable way. So let's do something really special here now. Let's do like this, and then perhaps, yeah, this is getting to be really weird slicing now. Maybe try to see if we can get the meat out in a good way. So slice this into smaller pieces, perhaps. This is a totally, you know, messed up way to slice up a orange. I mean, I do of course realize that, but I mean, it's just a test here. So let's see if we can do the very same here with the Sparrow as well, and getting the meat out here in a good, efficient way. Yeah, we did actually leave some meat behind here if we compare it to this piece here at the end of the world. Some strange small pieces here. Throw this in a fruit salad perhaps once I'm done. Really weird processing going on here. Like I said, consider this more to be a sharpness test than, you know, actual food prep in any way. So yeah, we've done some random slicing here now with the 2 knives. Both performed. I think they performed well. I mean, I've been testing a lot of knives out for slicing, especially tomatoes and oranges, and I think these 2 passed the test. But you know, the limited blade length sure makes it tricky. Will be a lot easier with the Ucap and with the Choppa. So I'm gonna clean this mess up here, and then we go Ucap and Choppa. I'm not gonna lie, these are some freaking mega oranges. But now we have the actual blade length to, well, although barely, go through it. We're gonna start with the Ucap, then the Choppa here. So this, I mean, it's like night and day, you know, getting to work with a blade that is actually sufficient in terms of blade length here when doing these slicing tasks. Let's go with this one as well now, shall we? Put this one aside. Once again, we can go. I mean, it feels real natural going with this grip here, doing these sorts of cutting tasks. Perhaps a little bit, you know, on the thin side here. Yeah, we did get a few pieces here, right? Now it gets scary. Maybe just, you know, I don't. Maybe we should just do some random. Really random slicing here just because. So slicing this one up was not a difficult task, I will say. Let's put these on the plate here. We have all of these pieces as well. So let's do something with them as well. The Ucap to a bit of work as well. So now we have it all sliced up like that. So I mean, the Ucap, nice. The Choppa, yeah, did a good job. Let's put this on a plate here. Actually, I want to do some. Let's go for one extra orange here. We can do some regular, you know, more normal pieces of orange here. So let's go like that, and then we can take one for the Ucap and one for the Choppa. But we start with the Ucap here. Go. Put this side, and then we go with the Choppa here. I have some normal pieces here of orange, and then we can do something more with them as well. We can do like this. See if we can get the meat off with not too much issue. Seems to be working quite nice for that. So that was not hard with the Ucap. See if we can do the very same thing here with the Choppa, slightly larger, of course. Not too difficult as well. Let's see. So now we have done some different slicing here using both the Choppa and the Ucap, and I think that they both delivered. You know, this is good results. This is what I want to be able to do. And like I said, I chose the tomato and the orange for a reason, because those are typically the one vegetable and the one fruit that gives knives the hardest time with edge and, you know, the skin and everything like that on it. So this concludes the sharpness test, food prep test of sorts here. All knives pass. Next up, we're gonna do some feathers, working with these knives once again. We just did the food prep, or the slicing of fruits and vegetables. Now it's time to go into some harder materials of sorts here. So feathers it is. After that, we're gonna probably go out in the woods and do some other random wood-related tasks. But for now, it is feather sticks here. And we're gonna start once again small to large. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say about that. Go with one piece here, and this. Kinda hope it's visible. Do we need to zoom in any way? You know what, I think we're gonna actually zoom in a bit. This will be better. I hope. So I got some different types of trees. I don't know exactly what this is. It doesn't matter a whole lot. Yeah, we're off to a semi-good start, I'd say. So I don't think these knives were actually, you know, intended to be, you know, feather stickers. We usually hear about RMJ being, you know, top military tools. But even so, most people that get these knives, or not most, but a lot of the people that buy, you know, like the Sparrow, for example, here, or the Jackdaw or whatever, might not, you know, be in the military, might not use it for military purposes. So that is why I think there is actually a meaning to doing these tests that I am now performing here. So I lost some feathers here, but let's take a look. Looks like pretty good feathers to me. I'm actually a little bit impressed here by the performance. I wasn't thinking that this one would be, you know, a great feather sticker. I'm not even sure why I didn't think that, but it just, you know, maybe it is the tactical look that makes, you know, makes you think it's another type of knife not capable to actually do stuff like this. This is good. This is really good. This is like bushcraft good, I'd say. So I mean, me personally, I'm not planning to go into war anytime soon. I don't hope so, at least. So for me, these knives will be used solely for, you know, everyday related tasks or wood tasks, camping tasks, etc. Some on-the-go food prep, fire starting, and, you know, stuff like that. So that is, you know, that is why I test them out like this, mainly. I think we're gonna settle with this. Yeah, let's take a look here. This is good performance. These are some really nice feathers. They would work excellent starting a fire. So the Sparrow, good job. That's all I can say. Let's cut these off now. And we can save them for something. Maybe for comparison later. So Sparrow. Let's try another knife now. The Jackdaw should be next. Let's see if we can go here. Yeah, so Jackdaw up next. Definitely not your typical, you know, EDC knife or woods knife, or, you know, I'm not sure how to describe this one. It's a cool, stylish looking knife. So let's yeah, let's go ahead here. So we are getting some feathers here. It is the same piece of wood that we did with the Sparrow, but on another side I can see the wood here is slightly darker. Not sure if that has any, you know, real effect to the feathers made. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get some more here, and then I might switch side here to see if we can get some more, you know. I think we could actually perhaps try this side as well here. But now it's not so. You know what? I'm gonna try another piece here of wood. This is the little we got here, which wasn't, you know, bad in any way. I mean, but we need more to start a fire. So I'm gonna try a different piece of wood here that is more like the last one. If I can find that. Yeah, I'm actually not even sure if this is the same type of wood, but we're gonna go with this regardless. So let's have a go, shall we? So now we are getting some nice feathers here. This one I think bites a little bit differently. Not a whole lot different, but you know, and it could be just a piece of wood. It could be, you know, the actual grinds on the Sparrow and the Jackdaw here might actually be quite equal, even though I'm getting some slightly different results. And it could also be due to the type of wood, etc. But we are getting some let's see, some feathers here. I say this is good. This is okay. I'm gonna remove these and actually combine them with the darker style here that we got as well. Then we have a mix. So this is the Jackdaw, the feather sticks made from the Jackdaw. This is actually, you know, sufficient to get a small fire going, but you will definitely need some other nice small pieces of wood to get it to work. You would like to have at least maybe like the double or 3 times this amount to be on the safe side, but this is enough to get a, you know, a spark of a fire going. So that is the Jackdaw. And next up we have the Ucap. Now we need to once again find a piece of wood here. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with this. So textured Ucap up next in the feather stick challenge, or whatever we want to call it. We're off to a semi-good start, I'd say. Oh, I just cut off the nicest feather here. That is part of the challenge as well, you know, keeping the feathers, not only getting them nice and curly, but keeping them to the very end as well. So I think I'm gonna try another piece of wood, but still, I mean, we're getting some feathers, but very, you know, uneven and unequal in size. Let me try just, you know, one other piece of wood here and see if we can get the wood quality to matter. I don't know. This is... yeah, well, I don't know. Just try here. So here are some of the feathers we got. Once again a bit uneven, it's biting kind of deep, but I mean with enough of these you can still go right. We can add all the small pieces that got separated, and then we can go with we need to cut these loose as well. But you know, all in all, may not be the absolute finest of feathers, but this is definitely, you know, sufficient. If you're out in the woods, you need to make a fire, and you start making feathers. If they look like this, you will be fine. This will work. So the Ucap, you did all right. Yep. So last but not least, we do have the Choppa. And a piece of wood. And this will once again be one of those times when I go with this finger choil, finger grow grip for extra, you know, for extra control. So let's try to make some feathers here, shall we? Maybe I should stand like this because that's where the feathers are currently showing up. I'll remove these so we can take a look at what we have managed to accomplish thus far. So here we have the feathers from the Choppa. I mean, we were off to a good start, and the feathers did get a bit on the rough or on the large size. We can try to make some from the other part here or the other end here. So see. Or maybe not. The wood grains wouldn't really allow for it, it seems. You know what, we can go with a different piece altogether. This one perhaps. See what we can do, but I mean these feathers were not bad, but it's not a very large amount of feathers. Yeah, let's get it off there. So if we just combine what we got here, we will quickly realize if we have enough for something to start a fire. And I think that, you know, this would be kinda enough. I mean, the knife will feather, but yeah, some fine feathers, some medium fine, and some pretty rough feathers. But you know, just to get a fire going, I mean, that should work. So let's see if I can gather all the different. Let's see. Put them all here. Jackdaw over here. Then the Sparrow. Yeah, there is no place left for the Sparrow. I'm gonna take it on the other side, and I can take the camera off, and we can go, you know, around and take a look here at them. So the Choppa, the Ucap, the Jackdaw, and the Sparrow. All capable of making feathers, obviously. Some better and finer than others, but all of them capable. So I decided to put the knives like this to make it a bit easier to compare. So the Sparrow, the Jackdaw, the Ucap, and the Choppa. Like I said, they will all make feathers. And I mean, since we're using different pieces of wood, etc., it's hard to say which is actually the best, etc. I can say that it's more comfortable doing feathers with the larger handles, but it's not, you know, uncomfortable doing feathers with the smaller handles. But they will all four deliver, and that is, of course, the main aspect to it all. Now we conclude the feather stick test. I know there are a few people out there that like batoning tests. I'm not super fond of them, but with a knife such as the Choppa here, maybe we should actually do some batoning. So let's get going, shall we? I think this is perhaps the easiest piece of the ones I put out, but they're all, you know, quite large, thick. So yeah, let's see if we can get this one sliced in half, right? Is this a good placement, or should I perhaps stand back over here instead? Slightly like this. I don't know, whatever. Let's go. So this was perhaps not an easy batoning piece. Holy hell. This was a tough piece of wood. But it is breaking up a bit. Man, I miss my axes right now. Let's see if we can actually go like this. So that was not an easy piece to batoon. That was actually a tough piece to batoon. Let's have at it some more. Well, the tougher the piece, the better the challenge, perhaps better the test as well, right? some knots inside there as well. Yeah, stuff like this. So that was actually a bit tougher than I expected. Oh. There was a time when I could tell which pieces of wood would be easy and which would be, you know, a challenge of sorts. So now we have decimated this one a bit, and I think we are ready to try another piece, which I, in my mind, thought would be, you know, the tougher piece, but that might actually end up being, you know, maybe it's an easier piece, or maybe it's even tougher. So that will be definitely make for an interesting challenge. It's quite a heavy piece, at least. Yeah, we will just have to see, and we will have it on camera as well. So that's good, right? I bet this one is going to be super tough now, or not. Let's go for this one. Yeah. Well, not super hard, not super easy either. I guess we could put it like that, huh? So I guess we managed to split this one into some nice pieces as well. Maybe we should actually settle like that. I think we will. I think it's pretty clear that the Choppa will split wood. Yeah, no damage or anything to the edge. It's a bit dirty. Yeah, to be expected, I'd say. Or is it dirt, or is it? Yeah, I think it's just dirt. I should have some water here somewhere. Let's see if I can clean it off a bit. Yeah, this will make it easier to check the edge out a bit. No nicks, no dings, no chips, no rolls. All good. I think that concludes the batoning test for this one. Here we have the smaller blades, the 3 of them, and we also have 3 small pieces of wood here. Very dry stuff. See if we can turn this into like a spear shape, maybe make some notches or some feathers. So let's, as always, start with the Sparrow and then we will proceed with the others. See, going for a spear first. I guess the question is, how fine do we want the tip to be? That's probably too fine. Very, very pointy. So let's see if we can make a notch or something in this one as well. So now we have made a deep notch in this piece of wood, like that. So we got a really fine spear tip and this notch here, super smooth. Let's see if we can do the same with the other two knives. Let's go with another piece of wood, and then we go with the Jackdaw. I'll remove this broken part here so it's more equal to the other piece that we started off with. So now we have more of a, you know, dull tip here, and we'll make it like this into a spear. Almost too pointy. So I think we're gonna settle with this. Go with this once again, and then we can try to make some notches as well there, or one notch at least. So here we have a, it is smooth enough. So here we have a notch now in this piece of wood. So we got a pointy tip and a notch. And then last but not least, we are going to go with the Ucap. So yeah. Let's see. So here we have the spear tip, which is kinda pointy, yeah? And then we can go for a notch as well. Let's make it here. Semi-deep. Yeah, I think this is sufficient. So now we have a... how visible is it? Not too visible actually. Yeah, there it is. A nice smooth notch. So maybe we can, yeah, like that. So we have first the Ucap with the spear and the notch. We then have the Jackdaw with the spear and the notch. And finally we have the Sparrow with the spear and the notch. So this concludes a small, woodworking segment of sorts, or not woodworking, but some, messing around with some smaller pieces of wood. I feel like, we left the Choppa out of the action here. I could easily do this very same thing with the Choppa, but right now we're gonna do something else to let it join in on the action. So we're gonna let the Choppa split these three pieces of wood here. Let's put them like that, perhaps. And then we see what we can do. Yeah, I won't be able to go and find them all now. They flew all over the place. But maybe I can get a slow-mo in the camera and see, how we did. But yeah, good job with that. So here we have a tree, a fir, that is dried up and dead. So we're going to try to remove some of these branches here using the Choppa. See how well we can manage. So yeah. some branching of fir. Here we have a tree that I did not take down, but that we can work a little bit as well on with the chopper here, removing these branches. This is also a fir. To mess with. So I might have to move the camera for the last pieces here. So that was some additional branching. I'm going to use this piece of taken down tree to make an improvised tip test of sorts. And we're going to start with the Sparrow. I mean, it has such a fine tip that if I drop the knife here, it will stick. It's, you know, it's like a dart almost. Yeah, enough about that. Let's try the tip a bit, shall we? Yeah, I could hear some cracking, but luckily enough, it was not the tip of this knife. Still nice and pointy. Let's, you know, I'm not much for this tip test, and I'm not doing it, you know, 100%, but it is, you know, just got this idea when I saw these pieces of wood here. So I wonder if we can get this one to stuck if we drop it. Oh. Yeah, actually we could. So they're all kind of, you know, yeah. But now we're gonna have to dig a bit deeper. Man, that cracking noise. So the tip is still intact on this one as well. Yeah, it looks good. So let's move on with the next one, shall we? Which is, of course, the Ucap. Can we get it to stuck as well? Yeah. Pointy. Yeah, so that's not much done to the tip as well. And then we have the Choppa. We're gonna dare to drop it. Yeah, I mean, it's too heavy obviously, but let's go for it here. Yeah, so the tip is still intact. So that was just a real fast improvised random tip test of sorts. Not super scientific, but I thought I'd include it nonetheless. So here we have a semi-small birch that I have been allowed to take down. Feel kind of, you know, torn if this tool is the right tool for the job, but let's give it a go then, shall we? Got a semi-decent chunk out, the first cut. It's on the very edge to be breakable. Maybe we should actually take the camera here before it falls down and take a look at the chops that we have made. And I'm not doing a very clean job, I know that, but that never really was my intention, to be honest. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Yeah, as you can see, I did go kind of crazy. But it is different working with the knife, you know, at this length, blade length, compared to like a really large, you know, 10-inch blade knife or an axe at that. That is why it looks this messed up. Still, it also shows that, you know, the knife will and can chop. So let's get this tree down now for a second here. So we can actually easily fell the tree just by pushing it now, but I'm gonna go some more chops here as well. Yeah, now it's impossible to have it standing. So now we know that this can take down a well, not a super large tree, but still a decently, you know, a tree nonetheless. Now we can do some branching and some chopping it up into slightly smaller pieces. I'm gonna move the camera so we can do that easier. Now we have quite a lot of tree to work with here. Take a look at that. So branching, we want to have clean cuts. Just like this. All the branches should be clean cuts. Not the absolute finest cut, since I had to do several, but still, you know, not super bad. Remove some of these. Yeah. Do some carving. Carve this into a spear. Quick carving. Let's do some more. Some quick spear carving here. Yep. Let's go for further branching. So maybe we should try to divide this one a bit. See if we can do that standing right here. Oh, man. You know what, maybe we can... Let's see if I can cut this branch off standing like this and holding it in my hand. Not this one as well, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna try this. Move that. See if we can get this piece as well here. So Then we can work with this piece. So we can also go for some branching here first. Branches. And we have this piece to work with. And then we have this piece now. You know, I really like those. Not sure if it can be seen, but those really clean, just super clean cuts. Just doesn't get any cleaner or smoother than that. So now we have some more pieces to work with. So let's chop this one up in half. Start by the slightly thinner side here. And we have a bit of a thicker piece left. Probably lower the camera for it a tad bit, like this. Three chops and it's all off. We have another piece here. This one is actually a tad bit thinner. Yeah, see that? Almost clean off. So now we have this base limb of the tree. It's actually quite heavy. So let's see if we can get these two pieces off first, and then we can proceed to attack the actual limb of the tree, easily the widest and thickest part of the tree. But let's start here for now. That's a pretty good bite, I'd say. That is an extremely good bite. Look at this. It's kind of heavy, but it is pretty much buried into the piece of wood here. And there it goes. So this is what it looks like. And this is not a thin piece. This is actually pretty thick. Yeah, let's go for this one that is actually not super much thicker, but still a rather thick piece here. So let's see what we can do. Oops. My aim seems to be a little bit off today. Now that piece is removed as well, and now we can actually start. Here is the other part of it. Now we can attack the whole thing. This will be interesting. Yep, let's do this. It's gonna take a couple of chops here, that's for sure. Bit higher up than I wanted, and for that reason we're gonna have to slightly adjust the camera. This is a lot higher than I would have wanted to get that chop. But now I just have to kind of go with it. Yeah, so we got some. So now I can actually break it off. That is doable. But we're gonna go with some extra chops. So that took a few more chops than I thought it would. But my precision, my accuracy was actually almost insanely bad. And I'm starting to get a little bit sweaty actually. I think I'm gonna go grab my water bottle and then figure out what we're gonna do next. But now we have actually done some chopping with the Choppa, and we have also done some branching and also some not a lot, but we did some wood carving, didn't we? Could have done some more perhaps. Let's see. And here's a fairly thick piece. Let's see how long time it takes to make a point, spearish point on this one. Perhaps not the finest spear you will ever see, but at least we did turn it into a pointed tip here. It is pointy. Definitely. So now I think it's time to check that water bottle out. Yeah. Yep. Time to go drink some water. So I just realized that there are still some chopping tests that we can do, going with some of these branches and stuff that we cut off here before. So let's see, you know, go from smaller to larger and see when the knife cannot or can no longer cut through the limbs of tree. Well, this could be, now it's getting interesting. Now we are getting into good size. I do not think it will chop through this, but not with one chop, but we'll see. Oh, still good enough to break it, but should this be the final one? Yeah, it is not to be expected to cut through this, I think. Slightly too thick and too durable, this specific type of tree. But thanks to that cut, we can easily break the piece apart, at least. Yeah, I think we're done with the chopper right now. Unless I can find some more piece to do this exact same thing with. So I found one more piece, but this is way too thick. I think it's about equal in size as the last one, but we can still do it. Yeah, once again, bite in. Maybe this is enough to actually break it. Yeah. So obviously we won't be able to take this one in one chop either, but we do get them into breakable pieces with that one chop, and that is sometimes not a bad thing either if you're out in the woods and you want to split something up, you know. So that's it for the Choppa. I think we have put it to good work, right? I was just thinking it could be of interest to show the edge perhaps. See if there's any nicks or any chips or rolls or anything. There's some dirt on it. but the edge is 100% intact. And the black Cerakote here, as you can see, has not worn off. This is just some dirt. I will, wash this away once I head back home. But right now, this has held up quite fine. I will say that I am impressed by this one, given its oh shit. Some wasp or something. Yeah, I am impressed by this one, given its thin blade stock and actually kind of short blade length as well. Usually when I go out and use knives for chopping as chopping tools, they are a lot thicker and a lot longer than this one, which does mean that they pack more of a punch. Given its given the specs, this one is a fairly useful tool if you want to do some chopping. And I guess that's why they call it the Choppa, even though I still don't like the name. It is a silly name. Rename this model to something, well, I was going to say something more adequate, but I mean, the Choppa is, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. In terms of ergos, I think this one has been, I've been using gloves all this time, obviously, but I think that the ergos works kind of well. I am not a fan of this finger groove. Yeah, it is nice when you do finer tasks, but it would have been equally nice to do finer tasks without this finger groove if you still had the choil area. That would have worked just as fine. And doing chopping, I did feel, more and more that I used, the back part here of the handle. And I will say that doing this for an extensive period of time will develop perhaps some hotspot or some blister on that part of the finger because of the upsweep here. And this is not a full 4 fingers, so you have like, yeah, it's not really ultimate, but I could chop like this, but I want the extra momentum as well as the ergos. So in the best of worlds, I would have renamed this one, I would have removed the finger groove, kept the choil, and that would have been perfect for me. That is probably my only one complaint about this specific design. But in terms of actual performance, yes, it will chop, it will branch, it will carve, it will make feathers, it will slice fruits and vegetables and paper. And in terms of edge retention, I can't say that much right now because I need to head home and pick up a piece of paper to actually see how it performs. But I'm pretty confident it is still as sharp as it was before we started doing this. So yeah, now we are ready to head back home. So I just got back home here. There is still a bit of sun left. I went inside, grabbed a magazine and grabbed some paper. And now we're gonna take the knife tool. So maybe we should actually raise the camera a little bit. Maybe even zoom in, perhaps. Like that. So the knife is not fixed, not cleaned or anything. It's yeah, like I said, I just got back home. This will be cleaned off, I promise. All of that as well. So let's test the edge retention now here on this one. We did whack a bit with it, so yeah, let's see. I think that printing paper is usually more tricky than the magazine paper, but it all depends. But we're gonna start with the printing paper. It's kind of windy. Is there actually 2 of it? Yeah, it was 2. So let's go. So it does seem to be sharp still. Let's go with the magazine as well here. So it is definitely sharp, perhaps not 100% as sharp as before. I could feel like there was a small nick somewhere when I cut the printing paper, but I actually, you know, inspecting the edge here, I can't see a thing. It does look 100% undamaged, but I bet if I put this one, if I clean it up and put it on the strop, it's gonna be absolutely like it was from the factory. But there is no damage to the edge, it's just that it could be a bit of dirt perhaps. Yeah, I'm gonna try one more and see if I can feel it slicing this. Well, now I can't feel it. Maybe it was just, you know, some dirt or something stuck here on the edge, because there is no, there just is no chips on the edge itself. Yeah, strange. So maybe I was a little bit wrong. There probably is nothing going on here. So that's pretty good from a edge retention test, as well as a test of sort of test of toughness as well. It wasn't as hard as the wood we went up against, but there were some knots, there were some, you know, branches and stuff that were kind of, you know, semi-hard and tough. So overall, I think it did perform good, or great even. We are now back where it all started, at this table with the 4 knives. The big difference now is that we have put, or I have put, these knives through a wide variety of different tests. We started off by going over the specs, you know, making an overview segment. Then we did some sharpness tests. We sliced some different kinds of paper. We cut some paracord, we did some leg hair shaving as well even. And after that we did some slicing of fruits and vegetables. And after that we went out, no, we did not go out in the woods. We did some feather sticking and also some batoning. Although only with the Choppa on the batoning. After that we went out in the woods and did some carving, making some spears, making notches, etc. We also did some branching and chopping. Yeah, I think we have done a bit of this and that, I would say. And overall I think that all 4 knives have delivered some pretty solid performances. That I've got to say. The knives are now cleaned up a bit. Let's put them here as well. Let's see. Yeah, maybe if we're gonna talk pros and cons here and sum it all up. I will say right away, by the way, that I'm not getting paid or anything by RMJ or any other person. I bought these knives with my own money, and I'd like, you know, to put my knives to the test. So I can say pretty much anything I want, and I won't risk any, you know, sponsorship or RMJ getting mad or anything like that. But it's easy to be positive about these knives since they all performed really well. But before actually unsheathing them all, we're gonna once again take a look at the different Kydex sheath here. I think they are overall really good. I think this one is, it looks kind of ugly. It's not, you know, super nice to, I mean, it just, yeah, I mean, it is semi-practical perhaps, but it's, you know, yeah, it is, it is what it is, you know. But it is, you know, functional, and it's easy to put these straps on and off and put it on your belt. So that is a plus from a functionality standpoint. Same goes with these. I mean, they are smaller, easier to carry, etc. And in terms of you know, sheath retention, you know, we had no rattling on the Jackdaw. Excellent, you know, excellent retention. Same with the Ucap, no rattling, good retention, really good. With the Choppa, we had some light, not a lot of rattling, but you know, a tad bit of rattling, but still with really solid retention. This blade ain't going anywhere, and that is the most important part. With the Sparrow, we had quite a lot of rattling. It is moving a bit too free for my liking here, but you know, the actual retention, I mean, the knife ain't going anywhere, you know, it is stuck, and that is of course the main important aspect. But I would have liked to see this one with a little bit less rattling. Other than that, I think that the overall, you know, designs, how you carry them, etc., you know, with the snaps and everything, I think it is a good functional design. So that is, you know, overall I'd say that, you know, I'm not in any way disappointed, just, you know, just a tad bit of rattling here. Other than that, fully functional, nice looking, yeah, kinda. So, but, you know, solid, overall solid Kydex sheath. Maybe this is just, you know, maybe if you buy this one, you will get a better non-rattling sheath. I mean, I could have just had a strike of bad luck for all we know, since all the other ones are different and slightly better, or a lot better. So let's unsheath them now here, so we can take a look at the blades after we have done everything that we have done with them, and in some cases to them. All the knives here are, let's see, I think we're gonna zoom in a little bit here, give me a second. So all the knives are in one piece, no broken parts, no loose screws, no loose handles, no dings, no nicks, no chips, no rolls, no nothing. Looking at this one, we also see that, you know, overall the coating is, or not overall, the coating is where, you know, is like it was in the original when I got it. But there is a slight, ever so slight bit of coating that has started to wear off at the very tip here. Probably from the tip test we did, and, you know, I always, you know, bash this one down when I finish with the knife. I just stick it to, you know, to the piece of wood, or like yeah, I just stick it into things. So I'm not surprised to see that the first wear to show is actually at the tip part, because that is what is taken the most, yeah, the most use, sort of. But other than that, it's held up very good. The Ucap here, yeah, we did tip test with that one as well. Oh, that is just some dirt in it, so here we go. This one looks like new, pretty much. No wearing of the coating here. All in one piece, no loose screws, no, I mean, it's just, it looks brand new, I would say. Then we have the Jackdaw. That one too looks pretty much brand new. There's no damage whatsoever to this one anywhere. Yeah, like new in box, almost. And then last but not least, or last and least, we do have the little Sparrow, which is also fully intact. No damage to the edge, no damage to the scales, no loose parts or anything. First now I realized that there are hollow pins on the Sparrow whereas there are torque screws on the Jackdaw. Interesting to find that out in the absolute final segment. I haven't really thought about it, to be fully honest. I mean, I just thought that the handle designs are very similar, or they are pretty much identical. I kind of wonder why they went with hollow pins here and torques on this one. Perhaps to make the balance point. I mean, how much weight is it in the torque screws? Yeah, I'm sure there is a good reason, and it could be due to balancing the blade, that they made these torque screws instead of hollow pins. So yeah, overall all the knives have held up great throughout all the tests we have done, and the edges are also quite nice. I haven't sharpened them, but I did clean them up a bit, and I thought that we could try to test the edges a little bit here using some paper we have not used in this video review. This is the absolute most challenging piece of paper. This is, as you can see, some newspaper paper, the kind that is absolutely the most tricky one to slice. So let's check the knives here now, and we should probably do like we have done with all the other knives in this video. Start with the small ones. So let's go with the Sparrow here. Let's see what we can do after everything we have put these knives through, and just cleaning them up, no sharpening. So I'm not sure if you realize this, but that is a really terrific performance. It's actually quite impressive. It is very impressive. This knife is super sharp still. Let's go with the Jackdaw here. Perhaps take a new piece of paper. So Jackdaw, are you gonna be able to top that? This is a lot more impressive than what I make it look like, because this type of paper is... I'm not sure why I didn't include this in the original sharpness test. It surprises me a bit. We should have done that, of course. So the Jackdaw is extremely sharp as well, very sharp. Then we go with the Ucap here. Also very sharp. And then we take the heavy hitter, the Choppa, the knife that we actually put through some serious hard work. Let's see what we can do with that one now. After everything we have done, take a piece of paper, let's take this. This will be very interesting. Oh, this is a lot more impressive than what I make it look like, Slicing this sort of paper after the tasks we have done. That is quite a feature, So, magazine paper, the most difficult paper to slice, shredded. After everything we've done with the knives. So seeing these results makes me 100% sure that these knives will shave hair, that they are hair popping sharp still, but we're not gonna do that right now. Let's put the knives like this perhaps, so we can get a good overview. Yeah, semi-good overview. So, that Choppa, what are my final thoughts? Well, I think it is a good versatile tool, which I think the designer was, looking for when they made this design. It is a good chopper given its size, given its, despite being such a thin blade, I do think it chops well. I had some concerns perhaps with the ergonomics because I use the back part here when chopping, and it's not really a full forefinger grip, and my little finger were risking blisters if I would have done it for an extensive period of time. But in terms of actual chopping performance, it did a lot better than I actually thought it would. Given it's not really that long blade size. The blades I usually go with for chopping, they're at least like 9.5 to perhaps 12 inches. This one is a lot shorter than that. And also a spine thickness that is like half of the chopping knives that I usually go with. So this is a light option. It will chop. It will do fine work, carving, cutting, branching, everything like that. And it will do it at a good size and good weight. For batoning, this one will batoon, but if it had a bit more, thicker, slightly thicker spine, right now it is almost like a, like a semi-full flat grind almost, or like a full height grind almost. And if it had a bit more, beef here, it would have, been able to split the wood easier when batoning. But still, we did batoon quite nice with it. So not a big issue at all. So I think they set out to make a versatile knife, and it did well in the kitchen as well. With the tomatoes and oranges, etc. So I find this one to be a good versatile knife, and I could easily recommend it. Absolutely, if you want a light chopping knife that you can do most things with, then this is not a bad tool at all to go with. Strong, sharp edge, good steel. Yeah, that is my final thoughts about the Choppa. I also would have liked a different name for it, or just skipping the and calling it the RMJ Tactical the Chopper or something like that. Also, I will say once again that the finger groove here, I'm not, it has to do with the grip here as well, but I'm not super fond of finger grooves like this in general. It does make it nice to work with for finer, more detailed work, etc. I do like the choil, but the finger groove, I could have skipped it, to be completely honest. But that's gonna be personal preferences, as always. But a nice tool. It will definitely see a lot of use in the future with me, and maybe I might even modify it a bit. We will see about that. Next up, the Ucap. In my opinion, easily the most comfortable knife of them all, both in the regular grip and in the reverse grip as well, which I never use. I find this one to be, despite being small, but it is compact. It's got a semi-wide blade. I like the overall profile, like a small Bowie knife of sorts. It did well in the kitchen, it did well in the outdoors, carving wood, making feathers, making spear points, etc. This is a knife that I really like it, and I enjoyed working with it, and it looks really, really nice, which is always a big plus. So great ergos, great looks, great user. Not that much more to say right now. So, the Jackdaw. Well, where do we begin? What am I gonna say about this one? It is a weird knife, right? I don't think there are many models out there that looks like this one. Definitely a one of a kind to me. An interesting knife. It is comfortable in the hand, definitely, both in standard grip and reverse grip, for that matter. It's got an interesting, blade profile to it. It did well in the kitchen. It did well in the outdoors. But it is, it is kind of strange. But I like it a lot, and it's just that looking at this blade makes me happy. It is an interesting and very stylish looking knife that is actually quite useful. And I do like the, you know, the extra, you know, the wideness of this blade, which makes it, you know, nice in the kitchen, or slightly easier to work in the kitchen with than perhaps the Sparrow, but maybe limited in some other situations. But this is a super cool EDC knife. If you like the design, then I can easily recommend it as well, because it is, you know, it's very functional, as we have seen throughout all the tests we have done. And it is definitely a conversation starter of sorts. I like this one. It's just a cool, functional, small EDC cleaver style knife. It's gonna be a long while before I can say cleaver styled EDC knife. That doesn't happen too often. And here we have the Raven. The Raven? Why do I keep calling you the Raven? You are a Sparrow. The Raven wasn't even present in this entire video. So, the little Sparrow. Quite a stabby little, you know, little knife. I like this one a lot. It's got a very, you know, functional blade shape, blade design here. It was, you know, pretty good or great slicer. It did great work in the wood. It has a really nice tip here that is still quite strong. We did the tip test, and this one had no issues whatsoever. Well, none of the knives did have any issues in the tip test, but it's like, you know, it's like a throwing dart of sorts. I mean, this is quite stabby, so you could easily use this one for, well, I don't really like talking about, you know, self-defense and knives, etc. But, you know, this knife, well, you know, it could be, well, as a last resort, this could work well to help you out, perhaps. But it will also work well in the kitchen, or cutting up paracord, or doing some woodwork, or random bushcrafting, etc. This one lends well to that. And it is comfortable in hand, much like the Jackdaw here. We have the gym pin that feels great here on the thumb. Nice placement, you know, secure grip. The Sparrow, of course, also being good in a reverse grip, which I once again will never use it as or with. Really nice EDC friendly knife. With a super, you know, common and, you know, practical blade shape. So overall, I will say that I'm happy I decided to try out the knives from RMJ. It's been long overdue. I had been looking at the Sparrow and the Unmei for quite some time, and then the Unmei got out of stock, and I haven't seen it be restocked yet. I'm gonna change the camera here, just 1 second. So, like I said, the Unmei got out of stock, and I was no longer able to purchase it. I wanted it in the Explore More edition, together with a Explore More Sparrow. Those were the two blades that I was thinking the most about getting. I also know there are some other models, like the Jungle Combat knife, perhaps, and some, yeah, I can't really remember them right now. But there are still models out there that I'm interested in, and having, you know, tried these ones out, I now feel super confident using knives from RMJ Tactical. I don't know why I was so hesitant in the beginning. Maybe I had, you know, thoughts about the Nitro V or the, well, not really 80 CRV2, because I know that is a pretty good steel, but Nitro V was one of those steel types that I had no previous experience with, and I felt like, yeah, is that really a steel that's gonna, you know, hold up, or is it gonna be like have a decent corrosion resistant? How is edge retention going to be? Is it going to be a tough edge, etc.? But now, when I've done all these tests, I feel super confident picking any of these blades with me out in the woods and relying on them. I know that these knives will not fail me, that is for certain. So yeah, that is that concludes, I think, my thoughts about these specific knives and the tools made by RMJ Tactical in general. You will not, go wrong in terms of performance with any of these blades. But there will be, a matter of personal preferences always, which things as finger grooves, choils, and so on. But in terms of performance, these knives perform, and they perform great. They did great in all of my tests, and that is quite an achievement. And slicing those magazines paper that we did in the beginning of this final conclusion part, that is really, really impressive work. Over and out.